And if you want to pronounce it affluently, we say latrine. I showered in the rain, not for recreation, you know, but because the outside bathroom had no roof. I remember a neighbor find a kite on a bamboo with a little piece of string. Well, I was always a smart mouth, so I used to call him Bamboo Flyer. And I had a song to go with it too. My neighbor at some point in time told me that the reason he used to fly this kite with this bamboo was because that is all his auntie could spare. Now to me, that wasn't poverty. That was a way of life. That was everyday normal life. I didn't know anything about doctors and lawyers. As I get later on to my speech, you would understand that I have surpassed all expectations for my life. I witnessed men with high-powered weapons walking through my neighborhood. My boyhood friends in and out of jail as we grew up. As I became an attorney, they don't have to call me if they are arrested. I find myself at the station and I help my brothers and sisters in my area. One thing, they always had my back. And you know, you just always need somebody to have your back. Between 2010 and 2015, the UNC had our back. Who have we back now? Well, the UNC still have our back. And we have to make it our business to go out on election day and vote for the United National Congress. You have to give your children, your neighbors, your friends a fair chance. Right now, nobody getting a fair chance. So let me continue with my story. When I completed secondary school, the first job I had was making bricks. And it wasn't any fancy machinery. It was just a little molding, and you had to mix your own cement, ram that, and then carefully slide the compact mixture out. I lasted 1 week at that job. I had to jump the fence payday because all of a sudden, the factory don't open early anymore. Friday is payday, Friday they ain't opening early anymore. So I jumped the fence. After that, I worked at a supermarket, and while there I was calling to the police service, where I spent 13 years. Throughout my life, I have always been described as ambitious. It was during my 6 years as policeman, I decided to study law. I completed my degree in 3 years, and I went to England. Don't think I wasn't met with ridicule and resentment by my peers. You see, the road to success is a long and lonely one, and you better prepare for it. I remember one time driving a police vehicle and telling a senior police officer that I am studying to become a lawyer. At the corner of my eyes, I saw the disgust when he looked at me like who he feel he is. Young people, it is okay to dream, but guard your dreams. Nonetheless, I have a dream that I am proclaiming at the top of my voice that one day I would represent my constituency and bring home this seat for the United National Congress. My mom and I shared a very special relationship. So when I returned from law school in England, she was ill. Sadly to say, 6 months after, she died. It was the biggest heartbreak of my life, but I didn't let it deter me. I persevered. I know some of you all are going through your troubles, and nobody would say that it would be easy. I remember at my mother's funeral, a lady came up to me, and she asked me if I know how I came to live in Arima, my first home in Arima. And I told her yes, but she still proceeded to tell me how I came there. My mom had me when she was 15 years. And this young lady was 16 years, and she also had a son. And they were working at this restaurant. And the lady would always invite my mother to visit her home, but my mother would never invite this lady to my mother's home. So the lady found that suspicious. So she followed her one day after work, and she said that she followed her to the Arima market. And in the Arima market, if anybody's familiar with it, there's a huge tree. And she said that the lady, my mother, walked up to some people around the tree, took a child from them, and lay right down at the foot of the tree and pulled a covering over her. The lady said she ran from Arima to Dabadi. And that is how I have my first home. My mom, and please forgive me, leader, was the biggest Kamla fan. And I am carrying on her legacy here today. Not blindly, but I believe in the policies and what Mr. Kamla Basad Bisesa stands for. You see, after I became a lawyer, I wasn't satisfied here. You see, I have nothing to lose. When I was born, I was given half a chance. And one thing my mother made me promise her is that I would never stop studying. So I started masters in corporate law. I went on, I was successful at that. And then I started to pursue a doctorate in business admin, which I'm still pursuing. See, I make no idle boast, because this is for someone who needs to know, no matter where you start, no matter what struggles you encounter, that once you have a dream, go after it. And no matter what adversity you are faced with, there is still hope despite the adversity we have faced in the last 4 years. There is still hope. So on election day, place your X by the rising sun. And I guarantee you, you will see how things will turn around in this country. Well, I am the head of an organization, as the present PM is the head of the country. And I am sure that my job is to ensure that I lead a sustainable organization. And I cannot be blaming the administration that has gone before me. I am given a job, and I must do the job to the best of my ability. If I don't do my job properly, I will get fired. So tonight, we know that the PNM is not doing a proper job, so we are asking that you fire them! Fire them! Fire them! Have a good night, everybody, and thank you.
Live from the constituency of MORUGA, TABLELAND, this is a special edition of the United National Congress, Monday Night Forum, and the One Corridor, One Vision platform. She studied at UE School of Business and has a passion for fashion and the arts. Aside from her desire to be a great teacher, her family is elated to be part of the One Corridor, One Vision platform. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the Monday Night Forum here in MORUGA, TABLELAND, a resident of 6th Company, Ms. Shaniqua Piper, to introduce the political leader of the United National Congress.
UNC family, how are you feeling? Now listen to me, right? We have a little change in the program, but I have a message that I want to sing for you all. I didn't cue up my music because I was called on the spot. So I want you all to listen carefully for me, right? All over TNT, it's crime everywhere. People dying every day, and Keith Rowley don't even care. All over TNT, people crying out in pain. They say under PNM, Israel stress and suffering. But Kamala say don't worry, she will take away your pain. Because very soon, you know, she will be Prime Minister again. All over TNT, it's crime everywhere. People dying every day, and Keith Rowley don't even care. Our children are suffering. How much more will have to die? It look like Keith Rowley love to bring tears to poor people's eyes. All over TNT, people crying out in pain. They say under PNM, Israel stress and suffering. But Kamala say don't worry, she will take away your pain. Because very soon, you know, she will be Prime Minister again. All listen, Lou, all listen. Kamala care for everyone, don't matter creed or race. All you hear that? Kamala care for everyone, don't matter creed or race. With Kamala as our leader, we can live in a better place. All listen. In a couple of weeks from now, we're going to celebrate Mother's Day. And the greatest Mother's Day song of all time, I want you all to sing it with me. Our Kamala love should never forget. I'm not hearing all, you know. All sing with me. Our Kamala love should never forget. Having she as our leader, we will never regret. If you love Kamala and you want she to be the next Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, make some noise!
Good night, everyone. My name is Shaniqua. Tonight I have the honor and privilege of introducing a very special person to everyone gathered in this room tonight. A very strong woman who by all her many accomplishments has paved a way for people like me to serve this country. She is the only leader we can say ever had the young people of this nation at heart. The only leader who has always acted while thinking about this country. We have all been neglected by this Keith Rowley administration. Citizens have been appealing for basic necessities with no response from this incompetent administration. I am seeing so much hardship and suffering. I am seeing a government that's refusing to help the people of Trinidad and Tobago. No responses from this incompetent administration. I am seeing, they have broken every promises and they continue to make excuses. But the leader I am about to introduce does not make excuses. She gets the job done. She works hard and ensure our future is secure. She has set about making sure the people of this country, especially young people like myself, have hope for a future and opportunities to prosper. I have the greatest honor to introduce our political leader, the Honorable Mrs. Kamala Prasad Bisasa.
Thank you very much. I get the feeling that elections are in the air. Good evening, UNC family. I'm in MORUGA Tableland, so I want to say a very special good night to my brother, former Minister Clifton Ligoto. To all our speakers, our councillors, all the men, MPs, senators, and look, I have to hail out, Naparima, are you in the house? San Fernando West, are you in the house? And every other UNC fan, are you in the house? So good evening all, good evening. Good evening to all those watching on TV, tuned in on the radio, those who are watching us live on our live stream on Facebook. You know, by the way, I want to pay a special hail out to the Facebook Minister Young. Constable Clueless, who is keeping Facebook safe one post at a time. One post at a time. Good night, sir. And you know, I believe this Rowley government is getting very antsy. They know that people are totally fed up of their lies, of their incompetence, and the way that they like to help their greedy friends and family and financiers. And Michelle, well done. The 4 F's. Friends, families, financiers, and Paris himself. And whilst they take care of their own, the rest have to suffer. You know, recently we opened a new office in Tunapuna. Did you know that? And these Rowley people so don't care about people. They're on the platform, you know, doing what? When we opened that office, mumbling and grumbling and complaining, telling lies, saying that the UNC want to buy groceries for people. So what's wrong with that? What is wrong with that? And you know what is wrong? Why are they complaining that the UNC is in Tunapuna, helping people fix roof and helping people with some groceries from time to time? You know why they're vexed? Because they are not doing it. They don't care. They have no compassion for the people of Trinidad and Tobago. And so, whilst they quarrel about UNC helping to put food on the table, they put in food, $23 million worth of food in the pockets of their own. Another one of them, they allege that he is getting on his table $100 million for work at the interchange, land at the Europe interchange. When we asked the question in Parliament, the Prime Minister said, no, that is UNC gossip. Prime Minister, today, it is not UNC gossip, but I want you to tell us how much it is Rohan is getting for the land at the interchange. How much taxpayers' dollars? Tell us. Because you see, somebody is telling me it's not 100 million, it is $140 million for that land at the interchange. And there's another man, friend, financier, 100 million in fake oil. So whilst these billions of dollars being spent on their priorities, what is happening to you here? But you see, your great party, the UNC, we are on the ground. We are going from house to house in every nook and cranny of this country. We are moving house to house, street to street. And this is what we are doing because we want to hear from you. We want to hear from you so we can plan and put our policies in place so that we can better help you. And the feedback we are getting is people are without jobs. That is one of the biggest problems in the country today, jobs. People are struggling to put gas in their car because they raise the gas prices not once, not twice, 3 times. People cannot get basic medicine at our hospitals. Parents are sacrificing to send their children to school. Many are worrying if you're going to keep your home because you've lost your job, but you have a mortgage to pay. And so many are worried about safety, and safety for yourself and for your families, because crime is an all-time out of control. The minister of Facebook, he brings bogus statistics to say crime is down. Well, he and Imbert seem to be getting their bogus statistics from the same place because they're giving us bogus stats about the economy as well. I want to come 24 people and ask you to stand with me. 1, can you stand up, please? Come and stand up. Stand up, councillor. Stand up, please. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Please stand. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 in the back, 21, 22, 23, and 24. Look at these 24 people. Do you know that is the number of persons who were murdered in the past 2 weeks? 24 people. And do you know how many have been murdered for this year? Multiply this 24 by 6 so I could get more people standing. 146 people have been murdered just for this year. We are only in a month, in short time in April. That is what is going on in our country. Can you please have your seats, and I thank you. 24 people, yes, in 2 weeks. And you want to come and tell me, the Facebook minister telling this country, crime going down? You know you could fool some of the people, some of the time. You cannot fool all of the people all of the time. Cannot do it. And so, I don't know if my crew has the video clip. You know, it's only under this Facebook minister. People could build a whole building and have a fake police station. I don't know if they have the picture for you. Fake police. Look at that. Look at the screen. Only under this useless minister, criminals could build a fake police station and arresting people. The criminals carrying people into the fake police station. And you know that whole building painted like that. Indigo Martin, you know. Not only Baka, Maraka, and MORUGA and so on. Indigo Martin. And even with the Star of David, which is a symbol for the police, it's on that building. Right in front of this useless Minister of National Security. He's the first Minister of National Security who has criminals emboldened to the extent they're not only committing crimes, they're putting up their own police station and arresting people, kidnapping them and carrying them in the station. Only under this useless minister. So the only statistics trending upwards is that of crime. And you know, I'm just remembering, only under this useless minister, a fire station burned down. Can you believe it? That is not a joke. It is not a joke. Trust me. A fire station burned down. What a fire station? Sorry, it's funny, but it's true. The fire station is where you have the fire engines and the firemen and so on. That if your place burning down, they come in to help you. They could not even help themselves. Is it because the minister and the government is starving them of resources? We'll wait to see. Only under this useless Facebook minister could a man born in Venezuela get an ID card saying he was born in Trinidad. Who is the minister in charge of those things? The same Facebook minister. Useless. Everything that Constable Clueless, Minister of Facebook, has been put in charge of, has touched, has failed. Sandals, he was on that team, failed. Labrador Dry Dock, failed. Dragon Gas Steel, the Dragon fly away. Phoenix Park Industrial Zone, failed. Ministry of Communications, failed. Venezuelan migrant policy, failed. He was on the Sea Bridge Committee, that failed too. And of course, Ministry of National Security, total failure. These are serious facts about the constant failures of this man. And let us look at the reality in TNT under the Rowley government. A government, by their incompetence, their uselessness, they have destroyed our oil industry. We had one of the oldest, over 100 years of the oil industry. That was our treasure. That was our legacy. You know the story when you go into school about the goose that laid the golden egg. Well, Petrotrin and that oil industry was where all the monies was coming from to sustain us, to have us as #1 in the Caribbean and on top of the world. They killed Petrotrin. They killed down our oil industry. They ruined our public services. And they have isolated us on the world stage because of their failed foreign policy. Total isolation. And what they want to come to tell you, imagine a minister of that government, an MP for this constituency, want to talk about yellow bellies. Yellow bellies. Well, I want to tell him tonight, they could talk about yellow belly, red belly, any kind of belly. I am about putting food in hungry bellies. So I am not about yellow bellies. I am not about red bellies or any color bellies. I am about working to put food in hungry bellies in Trinidad and Tobago. Will you help me to do that? Will you help me? We can do it together. I can hear the people of Trinidad and Tobago saying enough is enough. We want back our country. We want our jobs back. We want hope in our future back. We want a future for our children. We want a government which works for the people. We want leadership which cares about people, not just for the elites and friends and financiers and Pharisees. The people of MORUGA, TABLELAND, and across TNT are all saying, we want the UNC back. We want the UNC back. You know, when I had the honor to serve as your Prime Minister, I am proud to say that my government was a government working for everybody all over the country, for Trinidad and Tobago. For 42 out of 57 years, every PNM government, yes, turned its back on the people of your constituency here in MORUGA, TABLELAND. And they continue to turn their backs for the last 3.5 years. Now that we are on the brink of elections, they're running down here into MORUGA, TABLELAND very often. True or not true? They get busy. They have suddenly become very busy all over, running to and fro, cutting ribbons and turning sod. Yes? And so, you know, during my time as Prime Minister, we used to cut ribbon when we finished the project. When we finished the San Fernando Hospital. When we finished the Kanhai Road Presbyterian School. When we finished rebuilding the police station right here in MORUGA. When we built the fishing depot in MORUGA. La Ruffin, is it, MP? Yes. When we constructed the new community centers here in MORUGA, TABLELAND and elsewhere, what we did, we cut ribbon. When we completed the early childhood school, we cut ribbon. When we built the new grant government primary school, we cut ribbon. Yeah? When we paved over 50 kilometers of roads, we cut ribbon. Yeah? When we did over 93 landscapes, that's when the Koto cutting ribbon in MORUGA, TABLELAND. Yeah? And so many other projects. We laid water lines in Marak and Laloon. Gonzales, you remember? Those of you who live here, that's when we would cut ribbons. But these guys running around cutting ribbon to start a project. And believe me, they're not going to finish those projects. We will come and finish them. So you know what the young people say? The young people say, don't take chain up. Elections in the air, they come in cutting ribbon in MORUGA all over. Don't take basket. The old people say, but the young ones say, don't take chain up from these PNM because they'll come back. If you are, God forbid, you put them back, they will do the same thing they've done for the 42 of the 57 years in power. So, let us tell them, let us tell this useless, incompetent government that MORUGA, TABLELAND will vote UNC and will become a UNC constituency. they heard you loud and clear in Port of Spain, because you see, tomorrow they have a meeting. So if you have the time, I really don't listen much to them, but people tell me, tomorrow night. So I tell you, tomorrow night they're coming for me, you know. And they're coming for you here in MORUGA TABLELAND, you know. So be warned, be warned. But I always tell you, my hands are clean and my heart is pure. And I tell you that up to today, my hands are clean. Your hands clean too, put them up. Put them up. Our hands are clean and our hearts are pure. We are not afraid. So they're running a narrative from before elections, right up now in their 4th year. Oh, the UNC afraid, the UNC afraid, the UNC afraid. Well, I showed them in Parliament Friday. I helped them rewrite their bill and we voted for the bill. We are not afraid. The only thing I am afraid of is I fear my God. I'm not afraid of PNM. So I tell them, let them know that people are hurting in this country. Life under Rowley is difficult. This is now their 4th year in office. And what have they done to improve your lives? What have they done? Nothing. Nothing. They have done nothing, but they talk a lot. And what is their answer to every problem? What is the answer to every failure is blame Kamala. Blame the UNC. Blame Kamala, blame the... That's all they've been doing. Or when they're not doing that, they lie to you. They lie to the country. A week ago, the Minister of Trade, big headline, Minister of Trade, telling the manufacturers of our country that recession done. You hear lie? That is bigger lie. That is more than lie. What is the reality? Imbert has killed the Trinidad and Tobago economy. And you know, that is what happens when you put people with no experience in finance. You put an engineer to run the Ministry of Finance. He has killed the economy. Despite their lies of turnaround and stabilization, independent international organizations have painted a completely opposite picture. So the lies from the government, they are now saying and doing something very frightening. They want to convince you that these reputable international organizations are the ones that are telling untruths, and they say, well, that's fake news. But let me tell you, what is the reality? The World Bank says, the World Banker, not Kamala, the World Bank says, Trinidad and Tobago is one of only 4 countries that the World Bank estimates this year will have weaker economies by the end of 2019. Weaker economies, 1 of 4. You know what the other 3 are? Venezuela, Nicaragua, Argentina. So we are now in the same loop with Venezuela. The bank says further, Trinidad and Tobago has the highest fiscal deficit as a percentage of gross domestic product in the whole of Central America and the Caribbean. So in the whole of this part of the world, we have the highest fiscal deficit. You know what that means? You know what it means? You have borrowed, and borrowed. And you are owing, and owing. We are in debt, in the valley of debt. The bank says further, GDP contracted by 2% in 2017 and 1% in 2018. And for this year, GDP, meaning the economy, is to contract by 0.5% this year. So we, instead of growing, what we are doing? We are contracting. We're going contracting. We are at a stage of what is worse than even a recession. We are at what they call stagnation. Nothing is happening in the economy. Fitch Solutions tells us, another international group. And the Minister of Finance said that was fake news. But again, this is not Kamala, this is Fitch Solutions. I quote, over the medium term, we expect the central bank of TNT will devalue the dollar. Our view is underpinned by our expectation that TT's external accounts will remain weak, keeping the peg under downside pressure and undermining the bank's ability to support the peg. They say further, capital outflows have been driven by a weak business environment and TT's unfavorable interest rate differential with the US. You know, I've said this many times before, you cannot tax a nation into prosperity. We have higher tax rates than the United States. So what do you think anybody's coming to invest here when they can get lower tax rates elsewhere? So Fitch says further, the capital flight risks in response to this deteriorating growth outlook, and there will be more likelihood of more substantial currency devaluations. The finance minister says, fake news. This is from Fitch Solutions, international agency. And finally, the IMF. The IMF is also at odds with what the government is saying. The IMF has projected 0% growth for TNT this year. According to their World Economic Outlook, which came out earlier this month, they said our country only achieved 0.3% growth in 2018. That is less than the 1.9% growth that the Minister of Finance was telling the country. 0.3 in last year. Of course, this year is projected no growth whatsoever. So all these agencies are contradicting the lies that the government is putting out. Everything the Minister of Finance and the Rowley government has been saying about economic turnaround and they turn the corner and recession is bold-faced lies. We have fallen as well in the ease of doing business ranking. In 2014, yes, out of 189 countries, we were at spot number 66. Now, in 2018, we have the stats. We have fallen to 105. It works in the opposite. We have fallen 39 points in terms of the ease of doing business. Why am I telling you all of this? I am telling you this because if the economy goes into this tailspin, which it is going into, more job losses will come, more sufferation will come, no medicines in the hospital. We're going to get slashes across all the grants, all the subsidies, everything will be slashed across the board and the sufferation will be yours. All why? Because this government's incompetence, useless government to properly manage the economy. Let me tell you my track record. When we were in government, our track record, let's look at jobs. The PNM cannot tell you the truth, but let's look at it. And you know what? They had no plan and they still have no plan to grow the economy and create jobs for you. The facts are there for all to see. The government I led had the highest number of persons in jobs ever in the history of Trinidad and Tobago. When we left office, well, when I went into the year 2010, there were 582,100 persons with jobs. We raised that 2011 to 585,300, 2012, 614,000, 2013, 626,300, yeah? 2014, 636,900. We created over 55,000 new jobs. Under the red and ready, there have been over 50,000 job losses in the 3.5 years. Let's look at the unemployment rate. When we were in government, our country had the lowest ever unemployment rate in Trinidad and Tobago. When I came into office, the unemployment rate was 5.9% of persons. We took it to the lowest ever in our history in 2014, 3.3%. And when we left office in 2015, it was 3.4%. You know where it's going now? Unemployment rate for the review of the economy tells us September 2017, it stood at 5%, going up again. Remember I came in, it was 5.9. Bring it down to 3 something. They are taking it back. And you know something here with the stats? They have not published any unemployment data since June 2017. You could give me a guess why? You could take a guess why? No data from June 2017, yes? All of 18 gone, piece of 19 gone, no unemployment data. You know why? Because more persons have lost jobs and the unemployment rate is up. So joblessness under the PNM compared to under us is a stark contrast. It has been a miserable 4 years, 3.5 years for workers and their unions. Some unions have suffered large-scale memberships decline because they have wiped out the workers. I am proud, as I tell you, to have led the most labor-friendly government you could find in our post-independence period. So, that is why I tell you we created over 55,000 new jobs in our term. And we also signed, negotiated and signed over 100 wage settlement negotiations. But I'm not done yet. Compared to what is happening now, under my watch, we generated the second highest ever revenue in the history of our nation. But you know who did the highest too? We generated the highest ever revenue in the year 2014 under my watch. Highest ever. And guess what? We did that. We created these jobs. We brought the unemployment down. Yes? Talk to you about revenue earners. And we did all of that without one single new tax. Not one new tax. No new taxes. You know, sometimes we have short memories. So now we have their 3.5 years to compare with my 3.5 years and so on. You can see it's like chalk and cheese. You can see the stark contrast and the difference for their management of the economy and our management. And we did that, as I said, not one new tax. We even went so far to reduce taxes. We took off the VAT on over 7,000 food items. We grew the non-tax revenue from 6.5 billion in 2010 to 9.96, so it was 10 billion from 6.5 billion non-tax revenue to almost 10 billion non-tax revenue. That's an important point because you can't tax people into prosperity. You have to have other ways of creating revenue for the country. We raised it up from 6.5 billion to almost 10 billion in 2015. And that year, we had falling oil and gas prices in 2015. We also recorded one of the highest ever GDP in the history of our country. In 2013, it was about 170.3 billion in GDP. So all these things are called the macroeconomic fundamentals. These are like the symptoms of your economy. When these things are bad, your economy is bad, and then your life is hard and bad. Foreign reserves. They're crying every day about foreign reserves. Do you know I left them? We generated under my watch the highest ever foreign reserves in our country. Highest ever. We were able to generate the highest ever foreign reserves in US dollars in the history of our nation. And you know what's going on with these people, boy? They are drawing down on those reserves day by day. And where is the money going? Fake oil, yes? Into fake oil, into 23 million rentals, into 100 million for land at the interchange and so on in Europe. Their priorities are totally upside down. They will not provide the medicines, they will provide the grants, the roads, the bridges, the schools for you. but they'll put it in the pockets of their friends, their family, their financiers, and Faris. That's what they're doing. Listen, listen. International reserves, net international reserves. When we left office, we left them about $11 billion in US foreign reserves. They have brought it down in February of this year to 7.4 billion. So they've spent what, in 3.5 years? They're drawing down those reserves that we left. So I share this with you. And yet still, they say we thief. Yes? Thief always like to call other people thief, you know. Because they know what it is. They know how to do it. And we spent money for the development of our country. We could show the laptops, yes? We could show the hospitals, the schools, the police and the fire stations, highways, drains, dredging watercourses, houses, access roads, a new university campus. They refuse to open the campus. Every Monday morning they come with a new plan for the South Campus. So the latest thing I'm hearing, they're saying they want to do some kind of medical something there. You cannot open the completed Couva Children's Hospital. You want to come and do something in South? Huh? About medical? Shameless. Shameless. Bold-faced liars. We had the state-of-the-art cycling velodrome, aquatic center, national tennis. I can go on and on. And in case that man, Prime Minister Rowley, you know, he said we only build down in South and Central. Don't forget the state-of-art Diego Martin Health Facility. We built right in Diego Martin. Don't forget that. And I saw something really jokey. Nice pictures with 3 fellas posing for picture in San Fernando. Minister Lee Hunt, A.G. Faris, and somebody else, I think it's the Mayor, Regrello. 3 PNM fellas in San Fernando, and boasting about a $650 million wastewater project in San Fernando. Yes? Well, let me tell you, that is a UNC project. They will not finish it. They will not do it. But I found it very jokey that in the 3.5 going in 4 years, the MP for San Fernando West, who is Faris Alwari, has not delivered a single project in San Fernando West. San Fernando West is in the house. No projects in San Fernando West. So he comes a few days ago to, guess what? To turn on some lights. The one project he did was some LED lights that they turned on in San Fernando West. Nothing done in San Fernando West. And so, 4 years in office, they have spent more money than we did in our 4 years, and they do not have anything real to show for it. The projects we did, you could see them. You could touch them, yes? You know them, you could smell them too. You could experience these projects with all of your senses. This wicked, clueless, incompetent government. No projects to boast of. So, I've shared with you what's happening in the economy. I've contrasted with what our track record for the economy. Now I want to tell you what our plans are for you in MORUGA Tableland when we form the next government. Plans for the South. Our plan is to connect Mayaro to MORUGA, through MORUGA to Cedras, the whole of the South. A connecting corridor and zone from Mayaro, MORUGA to Cedras. And that is why I told you we will have to build the highway from San Fernando to MORUGA. And this government, since they came in, stopped the highway going down to Point. We will have to continue that highway. So we will have a corridor here too, on the south, Mayaro, through MORUGA, all the way down to Cedras. So our one corridor movement is not only along the east-west corridor. That one corridor movement is also along the entire south of Trinidad and Tobago. And when we get there, this is what we plan to do. Our national economic transformation plan will be put in place. Diversification will be in the heart of our vision. We will encourage strategic investments in non-niche, non-energy sectors where we have competitive advantage. We have 12 key strategic prosperity engines, and these will drive growth and create jobs that we need. These will mobilize the local private sector, the foreign sector, and of course the government sector. And I think it is time to end the cycle of boom and bust. We have been in that cycle for too long, boom and bust, decades of failed P&M policies. We need to take our country out of this vicious cycle that when oil prices are high, we go up. When they drop, we go down. It's a vicious cycle we have to come out of. That is why we have to diversify the economy. I mentioned in my era about connecting Edward Straits to a major road to connect Guaya and Moruga. That upgrade will provide access to the southeast coastline. We talked about the beaches, the rivers, the lands there, hiking trails and so on to encourage tourism. I want to turn, as I say, here about the Cedros Moruga Mayaro Economic Zone. This will comprise a commercial services port, agro-processing facilities, coconut, rice, peppers, pineapple, cocoa, tourism facilities. And then here you all have, do you know Trinidad and Tobago produces the largest amount of pineapples in the Caribbean? Did you know that? Well, if you're in Moruga Tableland, you must know that. Because right here in George Village, in Khorasan, in this Moruga Tableland constituency, we have pineapple growing everywhere. And what we can do then is we can open a certified pineapple processing plant and an export center so we can create jobs for people. We can increase export capacity, value-added pineapple products like jams and jellies, preserves, juices, slices, chunks, puris, and flavoring. And do you know you can use the leaves on the pineapple for leather and to make a special kind of paper? All this we can do right in your community, to grow your community and to grow jobs in your community. Of course, government will provide support to investors and deal with incentives to make these things happen. But of course, we will need your support. And now that we see the P&M is in panic mode, they are becoming very desperate. Let's see what they're doing. Anytime they get desperate, they do two things. Corruption they talk about, and they use race to try to divide us. Do not fall for their baiting. Do not fall for their bait. Do not fall for their bait. And so I warn you, these are their two weapons that they will use. Talk corruption, 4 years into your forte, you can't look up nobody. Yeah? So that's why I tell you, they're desperate, they may really try to look up somebody, they don't have much time left. So we'll deal with them. And now, a frightening development. Again, the third thing the P&M does is what? Gerrymandering through their persons at the EBC. Gerrymandering. So race, corruption. You know, up to today, nobody could tell us why, who extended, who gave the order to extend the voting in the last election? Who gave that order? An illegal order up to now, no one can tell us. So when the P&M, these with they can't perform, they cannot deliver, race corruption and gerrymandering at the EBC. And so the only way that they feel they could win is to gerrymander at the EBC, and I'll show you why. One is, it's all over the Facebook. I have taken note of these documents via the social media where Venezuelan nationals are being issued TNT ID cards. Can you imagine that? The history of collusion with officers in the EBC and the P&M. That is the history, it's in the DNA of the P&M. And so, don't be fooled. The EBC has corrupt officials, yes? And it is just Sometimes I think the UNC is too naive and too kind. But there are corrupt officials, and there have been in the ABC. And then now, I want you to look at the screen. If you guys have the screen, let's put it up, please, of the ID, the fake IDs. Yes? Can we put it up, please? While they're putting up the screen, as I said, I've taken note of the documents appear on the Facebook. Okay, look at that. The minister of the Facebook has to explain how this could ever happen. Yes? Now, the EBC has issued a statement saying there is no record of this person on the screen, Navarro, on their database, and they're saying no card was issued in that person's name. That's not good enough. That's not good enough. How did this person end up with a Trinidad and Tobago ID card? If you look at it, when the circle is on that ID card, you will see the security features are on the card. So the EBC up in town issues a statement after a few hours that the person is not on their database, but this person has an ID card. What do you use ID cards for in this country? They use them to go to vote. That is why the ID card is created in the first place. And so there are persons who will be engaged in voter fraud in this country. If you look at this card, you will see the gentleman, place of birth, both documents are in 2016. Place of birth, one says Chaguanas, and the other one says Rio something, Venezuela. One of these documents is a Venezuelan passport in 2016, same name. Maybe he's a dual citizen. What do you all think? Maybe, I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. Let's look at this. On the back of the card, with the details, card issued 10th August 2016. Person, Chaguanas. We look at the passport. The passport issued June 2016. Same year. I am told by someone from the immigration department that they have a record of this passport being used for that person to come into Trinidad and Tobago. So it's a genuine Venezuelan passport. How does a Venezuelan national who has a bona fide Venezuelan passport, listing his place of birth as Venezuela, now hold a Trinidad and Tobago ID card listing as Chaguanas born? You know, last year, you say you have to connect the dots, you know. Last year, I heard the Prime Minister on a political platform in Chaguanas East saying the PNM is looking to capture the marginal seat of Chaguanas East. Where is this person? Where is he? You know where in Chaguanas? Montrose. You know where that is? Chaguanas East. Connect the dots. Is this how they intend to win that seat and the other marginals? I have the names of some companies. I'm told that they're hiring the Venezuelans. They're getting these ID cards for them so that the PNM, they're PNM financiers, and they will mind these people, get them these ID cards, and send them to vote. To vote where? To vote for the PNM. We have to keep our eyes wide open. We have to warn the ABC, we will not let this happen in our country. This must not happen. We have to be vigilant. I want to remind you also of a story in the Express, January 19th, where they did an expose of persons selling birth certificates. The article spoke about Venezuelan nationals getting TNT birth papers at a cost of $3,500. 2 days after, in the Senate, A.G. Farris was asked a question, and he said they have launched investigations, and subsequently we found out, he said they launched investigations, and after we found out that they had taken staff out of that place, from that unit, and they had put them somewhere else. What has become of that case? How many birth certificates in this country have been sold and to whom? Who has been held accountable? Why was the staff simply reassigned? How many other cases are there as this Louis Navarro? You know, the racketing continues, the racketeering continues under this wicked government. I tell you tonight, let us connect the dots. Let us connect the dots. So, gerrymandering, these fake IDs and so on, but they also gerrymander the boundaries. We just got the latest EBC report, local government report, and the general elections report. Listen to this. The EBC moved 4 polling divisions from San Fernando East into San Fernando West, all to the benefit of whom? The PNM. 2 of these polling divisions were moved just before the 2015 elections. And these 2 now, another 2 coming out of San Fernando East. Traditionally, we know the voting patterns. Historically, San Fernando East, those polling divisions have been PNM. You know what they did to do this, to achieve this thing? They went to Oropouche East. They took 3 polling divisions from Oropouche East. Picture it, huh? Take out 3 PDs, Oropouche East. They put them into San Fernando East. And then they take them from San Fernando East and drop it where before last elections? Into San Fernando West. My God, why didn't you just take the Oropouche East and drop them straight into San Fernando West? Why? Why? Because they have boundaries, the borders are the same. But you did this, why? Because to benefit the marginal seat of San Fernando West, benefited, gifted to the PNM. Let me explain this, to see the corruption and the gerrymandering that is happening. They said San Fernando East had too few voters. They said San Fernando West had too few voters. Oropouche was right there, close to the limits and so on. They could have moved the PD from Oropouche East, 1, and sent it into San Fernando East because they were smaller. And then I said they could have taken the 2 Oropouche East and put it into San Fernando West. Simple. Why you had to go this circuitous route? Oropouche into East San Fernando, and then from East San Fernando into West San Fernando. You understand? And they're doing it again. I could go on. In the 2018 Baratari election, Sharon comes, I see her here, which Sharon won for the UNC. They're moving the strongest polling division for the UNC, 1405, out of that seat, Baratara, the local government seat. That seat, we got 646 votes in that polling division. Now that they've moved it out, that is 646 votes. That seat would have lost for the UNC. You know how many votes the PNM got in that same PD 1405? They got 104 votes. So you've taken a strong UNC seat and you've made it into not a strong UNC seat, definitely, it's for the benefit of the PNM. So in Samoa East, our seat, UNC seat, they're moving 6 polling divisions out. Yes? And that will swing the seat to the PNM. In the Superior Corporation, where we have a 1-seat majority, they are moving a strong UNCPD out of Otaheite Rosalak, seat we hold. Yes? We won that polling division, 317 votes to the PNM's 138. They are now moving that PD out, which will put that seat, local government, into deadlock for the benefit of the PNM, and thereby deadlocking and tying the Superior Corporation. But you know what? We will not let them get away with their wickedness and gerrymandering. We have to be vigilant. We have to bring out every single voter. Everyone has to come out to vote. Everyone. No staying home, feel you win already. Everyone must be involved in the campaign, on the march, on the road to victory in whichever elections is called. You have to be there. But they're not stopping there, you know. It's a 3-pronged attack. Gerrymandering the list of electors, Secondly, as I said, changing boundaries for the benefit of the PNM. And the third is with house padding. House padding. House pad with the HDC, register non-national voters, move electoral boundaries, all with the help of some corrupt EBC officials. I am calling the Commissioner of Police to launch an immediate investigation into his fraudulent and corrupt activities where those kinds of things are happening with the ID cards. From the commissioners to the CEO to every single employee of the EBC, that investigation must be done and must be done now. They must do that now. I want to get back to the friends and family, the 4 Fs. So, we shared with you several thoughts. So, I saw a strange thing in Parliament, the last sitting we had, at the committee stage of the wealth bill, the unexplained wealth bill. And I'm convinced that Rowley can't do Faris nothing. Same way he can't do anything to Imbert, he can't do anything to Stuart, he can't do anything to Rohan. They are the boys running. As the clan running, they tell me I had cabal. Well, they have worse than cabal. They have a clan running the cabinet and running the government. These guys are doing whatever they want in this country, and Rowley cannot touch them because you know what? You know why? They are the knights of the PNM billion-dollar table. They are the knights of the PNM billion-dollar table. You're not knights of the round table, the good guys thinking half of this. Well, they are the knights of the PNM billion-dollar table. Nothing are they doing for the base of the people in the country. Don't care. Because how that happens, how they vote or vote, that's how it goes. And I saw Arawi in the committee stage last Monday disregard Rowley at the end of nearly towards the end of it. And Rowley is telling him, no, you can't do that, you can't do that. I was there arguing for a certain amendment. The MPs are laughing, they remember what happened. And Rowley is there as usual, grumbling and rumbling and rumbling. And telling Faris, no, 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 don't do that, don't do that, do that. And Faris said him, I'll talk to you later, Prime Minister. True or not true? True, happened. So he afraid the man, he can't tell him nothing. So let's leave that talk about one of the elite bosses, Faris. You know, before you ask people to explain their wealth, you must explain your own. The last time I told you about a company named I.A.N, that the Rowley government decided to gift the $23 billion for your tax dollars. That was in addition to what they had already been paying, the $100 million for number 1 Alexandra Street. This company, I.A.N, owned by the AG and his wife, after I exposed them, the AG went in such a tailspin. He was going on radio program after radio program. He could not even remember the rent that he charged the government, or maybe he didn't want to remember it. From $14.31 per square foot, guess what happened? He goes on the radio and he says, $7. Oh God, how that could be 100% more. He goes on the radio. I listen to shameless Rawi trying to convince your country, this country, he got value for money in renting number 3 Alexandra Street for $23 million. So let's look at that screen again. Let's play that video clip.
And what I can tell you is that the rental per square foot is somewhere close to $7.50-something.
$7.
The agreed rental of $575,000 per month, VAT exclusive, of $575,000 per month.
And what I can tell you is that the rental per square foot is somewhere close to $7.50-something.
Of $575,000 per month.
He's a liar, liar. Oh, he's a liar, liar. Oh, you can't trust him. No, 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 no. He's a liar, liar. Oh, he's a liar, liar. Oh, you can't trust him. No, 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 no.
In his own words, and in the words of his colleague Marlene MacDonald, and the cabinet note itself, which was shown on the screen. So Marlene says 14.31. The cabinet document says 14.31 per square foot. But Mr. Farris, on the radio, with his own voice, as I say, he said it with his own mouth. The old people said with his own mouth, 7 something. He said 7. Lie. Gritty Farris is a liar of the highest order, and I challenge him to dispute me. I want to ask you tonight, do you think we got value for money when the government agreed to fatten the pockets of Gritty Farris to the tune of $23 million? Was that value for money? So he bought this land, where that building is, $2.5 million. He puts up a building, rents it for $23 million for 3 years. And then I heard him trying to convince the population everything was above board because he stepped out of the cabinet room. I'll come back to that in a minute, because the Prime Minister told this country that he, the Prime Minister, made sure Farris left the room. Remind me to come back to that just after I speak this. I want you to look at the screen. This is the same property being advertised by a company called Terra Caribbean. That's a document, I'll explain it in a minute. Let me tell you something, if you go on Google Terra Caribbean, you can't find this document. They took it down. But you see, with the Internet of Things, you could run, but you cannot hide. So there's another site, it's known as archives.org. And we were able to find this document where Terra Caribbean offers this building for the same number 3 Alexandra for rent. And it is for $135,799 Barbados dollars, which is 461,000 TT dollars. When he was trying to get private sector tenants, the price was 461,000 TT dollars, yeah? All of a sudden, he cooks up this scandalous rental deal, and the price jumps up to what? 575,000. So tell me something. Where is the extra $114,000 going? Who is getting the extra $114,000? They need to answer that. They have to tell us. So he advertises it at a price lower, $114,000 lower. He goes on radio, he quotes half the price per square foot. When the reality is, all of that, all those things were not true. So we have now his Prime Minister doing gymnastics to defend him and his corrupt rental scandal. The Prime Minister goes on TV and he bold-facedly said he ensured that Farris left the cabinet room before any deliberations took place. Do we have that video clip, please?
Every time that matter came up, as chairman of the cabinet, I ensured that the Attorney General wasn't even in the room.
A note was submitted to cabinet by the Minister of Public Administration on February the 7th, 2019, with respect to the rental of the property for the use by the personnel department.
Every time that matter came up, as chairman of the cabinet, I ensured that the Attorney General wasn't even in the room.
The Prime Minister on the 7th of February was in Uruguay. He was not in the country. But you know, I think the old people are saying, when you're lying, you just can't remember the last lie. It says lie upon lie upon lie. So the Prime Minister tells the country, he made sure that every time this note came to the cabinet, Farris, get out, go outside. Go out, every time. Then we have Marlene MacDonald, and on the clip, I'm giving you in their own words, she's telling the Parliament that the note was submitted to the cabinet on the 17th of February 2019. And how cabinet works is this week, the ministers will bring their notes. You will consider them, discuss them, and approve them. And the following week, you confirm the cabinet note and you call it a cabinet minute. So Marlene tells us it came on the 7th February, dealt with it, and then on the 14th, it was confirmed, February. Now, if you have this gazette for me, a Trinidad and Tobago gazette, I'm giving you the proof, you know, because I don't want to get sued. I'm telling you the truth. A Trinidad and Tobago gazette of the 14th of February 2019, page 282, paragraph 272. Do we have the paragraph, crew? And I'll read it for you. Paragraph 272. This says that Imbert, acting as Prime Minister between the 5th and the 8th, but this particular paragraph, revocation of appointment to perform the functions of Prime Minister. It is hereby notified for general information that Her Excellency the President, acting in accordance with the advice of the Prime Minister, in exercise of the power vested in her by subsection 1 of section 78 of the Constitution of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, and all other powers thereto her enabling, has revoked with effect from the evening of the 8th of February 2019 the authority conferred on Minister of Finance Colin Imbert by his instrument dated 5th February 2019. The man was not in the country on the date the note was submitted to the cabinet. That is lying. You see what, again, they are lying so much they're tripping up themselves with the lies they're trying to tell the country. Thank God we have people who remember and see things. How did Keith Rowley then ensure that Faris left the room when he was in Uruguay? How? The fellow must be a magic man. How did he ensure did he make a phone call? How did he do it? Are there 2 Keith Rowleys? Oh God, no, please. I don't think we want, I don't think. Please God, I hope not, I hope not. So here it's clear they're lying to us. They're lying, they're defending their elitist friends and financiers. The greed of these elitist members of this government will cost this country millions of dollars, hundreds of millions. You see, they explained the wealth legislation, demonstrated one thing more than anything else about the PNM, and more so their Attorney General, is their hypocrisy. Hypocrisy. He wants to tell us that the government wants to follow money tonight. I want to tell Arwari where to look when he wants to follow money. I want to tell you something, some facts about a box. This is not an ordinary box. This is a special type of box. This is a kind of box you have never heard of before tonight. I will not only tell you about this box, I will also tell you who is inside of that box. There is a company registered in the company's registry by the name of A-Box Investments Limited. This company was incorporated 9th November 2004. I have the company documents. I have every document. I'm referring to, I have a whole bundle of documents. 2004 company, A-Box. After 6 weeks that the company was incorporated, this company bought a parcel of land on the 20th December 2004 next to the convent in Port of Spain. The parcel of land was just under 1 lot of land. I have that deed here tonight. The deed says the land in the heart of Port of Spain was bought for $750,000 in the heart of Port of Spain. Really, Faris? I have that deed. It was put into the box for $750,000. Now I want to ask, do you know of any property selling in the heart of Port of Spain for that kind of price? I'll come back to that. The property put in the box now has standing upon it a 6-story building rented out to lawyers. Do we have the pictures? Another 6-story building. And floors are rented out to lawyers. 6-story building, built in a few years. Huh? I checked the title of this property up to last week. There has been no mortgage taken out to put up that building, none. So you paid $750,000 in 2004. You put up this 6-story building, no mortgage. I have found none in the company's registry and in the land's registry. Then now, in April 2016, another property was put in the box. So you have one property in that A box. And in April 2016, who was the Attorney General in April 2016? Faris. Another property goes in the box. I think, Mr. Laurent, Council, you have a box? Let's put them in the box. So property 1 goes into the box. Take the cloth out. Take it out. Okay, hold it up. Someone come and help me. That's the first property, okay? First property. And then another property. And that's, no, I think they need to keep the picture up, please, so you can see the 6-story building. Okay? And then, in April 2016, another property is added to the box, and this one is on Pembroke Street. There you go. And you know who the owners are of that box. I told you I'll tell you what is in the box and who is in the box. The owners of this property are Faris Arawi, not surprised, Mona Nahus, the spouse of Faris, Jacob Hadid, Dr. Claude Denbo, and Donna Denbo. They are the owners of the properties there. When the property was first put in the box in 2004, the deed was prepared by none other than Mona Nahus Arawi. That is the wife again of the AG. And they bought the property from a company known as Radical Designs Limited. You know who owned that? I think you all know. That was a guy known as Gary Hunt. He was the P&M minister who put the $2 million flag up at the stadium while he was a P&M minister. Tonight I want to ask a few questions about this box, okay? And again, can you put up the picture of the building, please? Thank you. I think my council is getting a little tired, so you get the picture, don't you? Thank you, Lauren. Thank you, Lauren. Put stand up. Let us stand up. My council likes the theatrics. Give him a round of applause. I want to ask the AG how this 6-story property at 133 Oxford Street, owned by your good self, your wife, and some others, how that building was constructed when there is no mortgage. I want you to explain that to us. I want you to tell the country who are the tenants of 133 Oxford Street. To whom are you renting it? I want the Attorney General to tell the country whether the tenants of this building at 113 Oxford Street, which he is part owner of, I want to ask him to tell us whether those tenants are in receipt of lucrative $1 million state briefs from the Office of the Attorney General. Office of the Attorney General. So there are lawyers renting this property from Faris, his wife and others, lawyers, but the AG is the person who gives out state briefs to lawyers. I want you to tell us who they are, because stay tuned. If he doesn't tell us, I will tell you the next time. Can you tell us, AG General, as a person responsible for making decisions, placing millions of dollars in state briefs in the hands of persons who share property with you and who tenant your building, did you step out of the room when they were granting these state briefs to these lawyers who are renting your building? It's himself to himself all over again. Can you tell us what was the source of the $2 million that was paid for the property that you purchased in April, registered in April 2016 when you were Attorney General? That's the second property purchased by this A-Box, okay, company. This is how our country is being run under Dr. Rowley and his AG. I want to see how long the Prime Minister will continue to defend this type of behavior by his cabinet colleagues. I want the Prime Minister to tell the country whether he knows what is happening at that 113 Oxford Street, who are the tenants getting the state briefs. I want the AG, who wants everybody in this country to explain their wealth, I want to ask him, explain your wealth first. Explain your wealth. In this country, you can call upon people to explain wealth. But on another day, stay tuned, I will tell you about a clan that owns over 150 properties in Port of Spain. I have the entire bundle on my desk, but time is running out. So stay tuned. We will share it. Explain your wealth, one clan. I will ask them to explain their wealth. While workers are being told they have no money to pay them, suppliers, hospitals, no money. Patients, buy your own medicines. Firemen have to protest, they have no fire trucks. Pensioners are being told they can't get increases. The P&M can find no money for the social welfare grants. Poor people have to spend thousands in transport, send children to school, because the minister said government has no money to finish schools. Millions and millions are going to Faris and friends. I want to tell the AG tonight that the next piece of legislation he must bring to Parliament is to explain your greed. Greedy Faris, explain your greed. I leave you on notice, plenty more to come. Stay tuned. As we move into this election season, we will expose them all. Tonight, I want to make an announcement on behalf of our great party. Nominations for the local government elections 2019 will be closed on Friday, 26 April 2019 at 4 p.m. Thereafter, we shall begin screening of local government election nominees in May 2019. So if you haven't put your nomination in yet, you have until the 29th of April. And there are 2 new seats that have been created. You will check with the head office. One is in the Penal Debe Regional Corporation, and one is in the Sawa Leventon Corporation. So we'll be seeking nominees for those 2 seats as well. So get ready. The UNC is on the move. You know that the UNC delivers. You're seeing unprecedented development throughout the country, or plans, or projects, or policies. We have a track record. I know that there were some ups and downs, and we did make some mistakes. I made some mistakes in the last rounds, but I am human, and I take the blame for those mistakes. We have our good days and not so good days. But in all of that, I always strive to make decisions to uplift the less fortunate and the poor people of our country. Tonight, I hold my hand up and I say sorry for whatever mistakes that we made during 2010 to 2015. I will take the blame for some of those mistakes. In fact, I'll take all the blame for that. But I will also take the blame for all the delivery, all the performance, because performance beats all talk anytime and every time. As you leave, always remember, no matter how tough your position is in life, do not ever give up, because I will always fight for you until the day I leave this earth. I will fight for you until that day. And you have had leaders before me. You will have leaders after me. But trust me, you will never ever have a leader who loves you more than I love you. May God bless you. May God bless the UNC. And may God bless Trinidad and Tobago. Thank you all very much. Thank you.
I just can't live without you. Don't know where.
Yeah. Yes. A pleasant good evening to each and everyone. If you love Kamala, let me make some noise. Now, I want you to hold on for 2 minutes In a couple days, our political leader will be celebrating her birthday. So tonight, I want you, all of you all to join with us as we sing her happy birthday. So have your seat. Just 1 minute as they prepare the cake and bring it up in front. All of us are going to join together and wish our political leader a happy birthday. In the meantime, I want to sing with me. All over TNT is crime everywhere. People dying every day, and Keith Rowley don't even care. Our children are suffering. How much more will have to die? It look like Keith Rowley love to bring tears to poor people's eyes. All over TNT, people crying out in pain. They say under PNM, Israel stress and suffering. But Kamala say don't worry, she will take away your pain. Because very soon you know, she will be Prime Minister again. Birthday song, DJ.
Can we take down the music, please? Can we take down the music, please? My colleague, MP Suraj, celebrated his birthday a few days ago, so I want to wish him a happy birthday. And our Deputy Leader, Jalen John, celebrated her birthday. I think she's here, so can she join us? She's coming. Deputy Leader John, can you join me as we wish her happy birthday? And all the others born in the great month of April, happy birthday to you as well, all of you. Thank you.
Music, DJ.